were a brony in the golden age of the My Little Pony fandom, you had a favorite background character. It didn't matter if they had no lines or appeared one time in the distance of a single shot. If a pony was on the show, they were someone's favorite. Lyra, Bonbon, Berry Punch, Vinyl Scratch, Octavia, Fleur de Lis, Minuet, Dr. Hooves, and Derpy, aka Bubbles, aka Muffins, aka Ditsy Doo, aka the most controversial character of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Derpy was one of the most beloved characters on the show with a huge fanbase of her own, but was subject to a lot of controversy and even censorship throughout the show's existence. Today, let's talk about My Little Pony's most controversial character, Derpy Hooves. You know what comes in handy when I want to buy games? Revolut, the amazing and epic sponsors of today's video. With Revolut, you can take control of your finances with one app. It's financial management simplified. Revolut has a super user-friendly interface that anyone can use, and you can sign up for a standard plan and spend right away with the prepaid debit card with no monthly fees. You can customize your card's design in the app and use it physically or virtually. There are a ton of security features for peace of mind. You can control your cards within the app, allowing you to freeze your cards or even create single-use virtual cards, making your spending secure whether you're at home or traveling. And speaking of traveling, Revolut simplifies the hassle that is international transactions with competitive rates for currency exchange and little to no fees for domestic and international money transfers. No fee in-network ATM withdrawals offer cost savings for those who need to access their money from different countries and send/receive money at home and abroad overseas. Sign up to Revolut's standard plan with no monthly fees. It only takes a few minutes, and if you use my link you'll get $10, which is pretty epic. A huge thank you to Revolut for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back into things. I'm sure that I don't need to explain what the brony fandom was. It was so ubiquitous that if you were online in the 2010s, even if you weren't a part of the fandom, you were seeing pony content. On Twitter, on Tumblr, on Instagram, on forums, at conventions, everywhere. It was so oversaturated on 4chan that the bronies were banished to their own containment board. Not only did every brony have a favorite from the main six, a favorite villain, and a favorite princess for good measure, but also had a favorite background pony. Now, it's common in most fandoms for one-off minor characters or background characters to become sort of in-jokes or fan favorites, but this was on another scale entirely. The fandom was so big and so obsessive that every generic background pony, no matter how few scenes they were in, were given their own name, personality, and fully fleshed out backstory. Vinyl Scratch, also known as DJ Pon 3, was a DJ in Ponyville who loved dubstep and was roommates with Octavia Melody, a classical musician who played the cello. The two would butt heads due to their opposing personalities and music tastes, but they do say that opposites attract. Berry Punch was a pink mare who was spotted slurping from a punch bowl when no one was looking in an episode from the first season. Due to her grape cutie mark and penchant for drinking, the fandom made her character into an alcoholic, depicting her in fan art and fanfic as a drunkard. Lyra Heartstrings was a unicorn from Ponyville who the fandom headcanoned as being obsessed with humans due to her being shown sitting upright like a human in a season 1 episode. And perhaps the most well-known and beloved background pony was none other than Derpy Hooves. Derpy appeared in the very first episode of the show, Friendship is Magic Part 1, where she can be seen in the background of a crowd shot with crossed eyes and a scrunched up nose. She was likely placed in the scene as an in-joke by the animators who knew that no one would see it as the character was covered up by another pony in the scene. However, revisions called for this pony to be moved, revealing Derpy in all of her erroneous glory. Jason Thiessen, the supervising director, wrote on the topic, quote, "Derpy truly came from the fans. Some cheeky animator stuck her in the background with her eyes weird. I saw it in but left it because it made me chuckle, and Hasbro didn't catch it. Then I couldn't believe it when some pony pointed her out. We loved the response so much that when we were finalizing the episodes, whenever we would catch the grey pony in the background, I'd call for a revision on her eyes to make them derp. That's why you don't see them crossed again until several episodes in. We had finished a bunch before she was born. We did it without Lauren's blessing actually, and I was a bit apprehensive how she would react, but she loved it and Derpy remains." As soon as the first episode aired, it quickly began gaining popularity on 4chan, and one of the first things that the blossoming fandom noticed was the grey Pegasus in the background with crossed eyes. From the original 4chan thread, quote, "Go to 1718 in the first episode and look at the ponies in the background. When you see it, hahaha, is that an R-word pony in the back? Can't wait for that episode. This is your fun reminder that yes, the brony fandom started on 4chan, and yes, it was all like this back then. We'll get to the ableism aspect of this whole story soon though. Derp eyes. And so the legend of Derpy Hooves was born. Fan art to be made immediately. My little Derpy. From then on, the cross-eyed mare became known by the fandom as Derpy Hooves. Fans were delighted when Derpy continued to pop up in episodes with her signature cross-eyed expression. No longer was she just a background character with an animation error, but an actual official character. From season 2 onwards, she was more intentionally bordered and animated into scenes. It became sort of like a game, with fans trying to spot her in each episode. The fan art flooded in alongside countless messages of adoration and love towards Derpy. She had gone from a random background character to one of the most beloved characters in the entire show. Fans were even more delighted when official Derpy merchandise began coming out. The first merch featuring the character was a shirt with the slogan "We Heart" with a picture of Derpy from the company We Love Fine. We Love Fine was a popular place to buy merch in the early fandom due to their status as an officially licensed seller and the fact that they sold fan-made designs featuring brony in-jokes and background characters. Shirts, pins, and one insanely expensive and rare bag featuring Derpy would soon become available at Hot Topic, as well as several toys, figurines, and even a designer USB stick. Derpy became a poster child for the brony fandom, a random background character who, because of her popularity in the online community, became canonized within the show. And as she continued to appear in episodes, the fans continued to build her lore. They characterized her as clumsy, silly, and airheaded, which was indeed how she was depicted in later seasons of the show when she got more airtime. In season 1, she was one of several ponies who were excitedly looking at a plate of muffins, and so the fans headcanon that she was obsessed with muffins. I can't find the original source for this, it probably lies somewhere in the depths of 4chan, but it became a popular headcanon that Derpy was a male pony who was always losing letters and sending parcels to the wrong place. Again, this was later made canon in the show. She was heavily shipped with Time Turner, aka Dr. Hooves, and appeared as his companion in many fanfictions and hilariously dramatic pieces of fan art. Again, this was canonized in the show, to a certain extent. I mean, they weren't dating, but they were paired up together as like fan service. Are we seeing a pattern here? Yeah, you'd be surprised by how many references and in-jokes and characters were created by the brony community and then added into the show as a sort of nod to them. In my opinion, it's kind of what led to the downfall of the show, or at least the decline in its quality, but that's a rant for another day. One of the only popular headcanons that wasn't added to the show was the theory that this filly, Dinky Doo, was Derpy's sister or even daughter. This is purely because they share a lot of physical similarities in terms of coat color and hairstyle, and despite the huge amount of fan art of the two, their familial relationship was never made official. By the second season of the show, My Little Pony and its associated fandom had become hugely successful and popular, and so had Derpy. She was, as the kids say, best pone. So when the season 2 episode The Last Roundup came out featuring Derpy not only in a speaking role but with her name explicitly mentioned, the fandom went crazy.
Huh? Now, careful, Derpy! I don't want to do any more damage than you've already done. I just don't know what went wrong. Yeah, it's a mystery. Nice work, Rainbow Dad! You okay, Rainbow Dad? Anything I can do to help? No, nothing. In the name of Celestia, just sit there and do nothing. My bad.
If YouTube doesn't let me add the clip because of copyright, which it might, I'll explain what happens in the scene as well. The episode starts with Rainbow Dash setting up a banner when she's struck by lightning. This is caused by Derpy, who is jumping excitedly on a cloud above her. Annoyed, Rainbow Dash tells her to be careful, explicitly using the fan-created name Derpy. She replies, "I just don't know what went wrong," which would quickly become an iconic catchphrase and in-joke within the fandom. The scene ends with Derpy continuing to accidentally break things while Rainbow Dash tells her off. This was a huge deal for the fans. It was one of the first times that a popular meme in the fandom was acknowledged on the show. To them, it was proof that the showrunners, writers, and artists knew about the fandom and all of its silliness and debauchery. It felt like a real achievement. However, some fans felt that Derpy's character was offensive, that her crossed eyes, clumsy and airheaded personality, and even the name Derpy itself was an offensive and ignorant portrayal of someone with a disability. And this had been a point of contention tension in the fandom for a while now, but since a lot of the fandom was comprised of the very same 4chan users that created Derpy in the first place, these criticisms went unheard. But this was different. All of these traits had now been canonized in an official episode, and additionally the character was given a voice that many considered to be quite exaggerated. Catching wind of the discourse that was brewing online, Hasbro decided to retroactively censor the episode in a move that shocked the fandom. The updated scene removed any mentions of Derpy's name, dubbed over her voice, and even uncrossed her eyes.
Now careful, I just don't know what went wrong. You okay, Rainbow Dash? Anything I can do to help?
The reaction from the fandom was one of anger and outrage. The show had finally acknowledged the existence of the Brony fandom and then cruelly snatched this acknowledgement away because of a few whiny helicopter parents and Tumblr users. Brony started the hashtag #SaveDerpy to try and convince Hasbro to revert the decision, launching countless petitions including this change.org petition with over 40,000 supporters. Thread topic: Save Derpy. Derpy Hooves is a long-loved character in My Little Pony. She deserves to be in the show. Who will join the fight to bring her back? I will. Derpy Hooves, you have the right to be who you want. We still love you. You will always be remembered by the way you're supposed to be, no matter how much the soccer moms change you. Bronies unite. There was also the infamous hashtag #SaveDerpy video, which is hilarious watching it back, but back in the day, back when all of this happened, this was taken deadly seriously.
My name is Derpy Hooves. I used to be loved by many. I used to make them laugh and fill their hearts with joy. One day, I finally decided to come out and talk to them. And what happens then? Some of them get angry and call me names. Stupid, retarded, offensive. They want my name changed for me to go away forever. If my eyes aren't okay, I'm sorry.
Despite the insane pushback from the fandom and that heartbreaking video, many decided to stand their ground and explain why they actually thought that the censorship was a good idea. Personally, I think the character's portrayal was in poor taste, but not because the idea of a goofy wall-eyed pony is intrinsically offensive. The execution of the idea, however, came very close to making the joke that she's developmentally delayed, not that she's off in her own world all the time. Her voice was kind of offensive, and the new one sounds more derpy. The name Derpy doesn't sound all that nice either. If they gave her a new name, she'd be fine. It really was a spectacularly ill-advised idea. Usually they're better at fan management, which makes me think someone higher up but less informed insisted on its inclusion. So not a fan of Derpy. When I heard the original voice in the last roundup, I was very surprised that they let it through. To me, it did sound rather stereotypical, and I'm not exceptionally surprised that people blew up about it. Do I think it was right for them to make such a big deal about it? No, but that doesn't mean that it didn't surprise me when they did. This was an early lesson for the showrunners that taking memes and jokes from the Brony community had to be done very carefully. A lot of the jokes from that community back then had very risque or offensive origins, which could land them in hot water, and that's exactly what happened in this situation. While Derpy was completely absent from the show for a while following the debacle, she gradually began reappearing in a limited capacity. She even started getting merch again, though her name was heavily censored. Some merch referred to her as Bubbles, a reference to her cutie mark, for example this Hot Topic vinyl figurine. Sometimes instead of featuring a name on the box, it would just feature a small picture of her. She who shall not be named. At the 2012 San Diego Comic-Con, an exclusive Derpy toy was sold which was simply called 2012 Special Edition Pony. Lauren Faust wrote on DeviantArt that a later episode referred to a less than intelligent Pegasus called Ditzy Doo, so that could be Derpy's official name if the show called for it. And so she became known by yet another name. In 2013, Hot Topic released a Ditzy Doo hoodie with the description that read, "No Derpy? Can we still call her Ditzy Doo? Or is that taboo too? Boo." Gaia Online partnered with Hasbro to release several My Little Pony themed items, including a Ditzy Doo companion. When users complained that her real name was Derpy, a staff member replied that Ditzy Doo was the name given to them by Hasbro. Around 2014, the name Muffins was trademarked and used more frequently on merchandise. Muffins Blueberry Muffin Lip Balm was released, as well as an official Muffins cosplay wig. In the Bestiary of Equestria, an official guidebook for the MLP role-playing game, the character was referred to as muffins. Even though the name has been changed and altered so many times over the years, and Hasbro has done their best to wipe any evidence of Derpy's existence, the fandom still widely acknowledges the character as Derpy Hooves. The Derpy issue still divides the fandom to this day. Many look back on the era of #SaveDerpy as one of ableism, and honestly I can't blame them. After all, Derpy was born from the fiery bowels of 4chan, and the fandom was largely comprised of 4chan users, at least in the early days. A lot of Derpy content affectionately, in quotation marks, called her the R-word, and it wasn't at all uncommon for her to casually be referred to as R-word pony. Despite the fandom rallying to save the character as she was good representation for disabled people, a lot of those same bronies who were campaigning for that would also call the character stupid, slow, and idiot, call her the R-word, and laugh about what potential disability she might have. It's also worth noting that a lot of the #SaveDerpy movement was just grown men complaining that liberal snowflakes were making their children's show too woke. On the other hand, there are plenty of people who really connected to Derpy. On videos comparing the censored and uncensored versions of the last roundup, the comments are filled with people saying that Derpy made them feel seen when they were kids. They saw her as a fun, silly character who made them feel more included. After all, she was loved by all of fandom and celebrated as one of the best ponies on the show despite her differences. Eventually, she was given more speaking roles on the show. In the big fan service episode, she and Dr. Hooves were paired up and had a very prominent role in the episode, and she also features as a male pony who talks to Rarity in one episode. She gets to come back. So, you know, everyone says that Derpy was cancelled, but you know, she wasn't really cancelled. It's all a matter of personal perspective and opinion, and personally I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think that Derpy is offensive? Do you think that Derpy is good representation, or something else entirely? I know that everyone has such different opinions on this character. It's been such a debacle for such a long time, and even to this day people still debate over whether the character is offensive or not, and honestly I would love to hear what you guys think. Please weigh in below, share your thoughts, share your experiences with the character. I just love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I would love to thank you guys because I literally just hit 1 million subscribers, which is mind-blowing and I can't wrap my head around it, and it's absolutely insane, and I just thank you guys so much for subscribing and watching my videos and leaving funny comments and just being there and watching my stuff. I really appreciate it, and this isn't ever something that I thought would happen in my life, so I really appreciate it. I'm not really sure what to do for 1 million subscribers. Like, some people have said maybe to do like a Q&A or something like that, but then I'm not really sure if people actually would watch that or care about it. I don't know if you want to know anything about my boring life, but yeah. If you have any ideas for something you'd like to see, like a topic or a type of video or some sort of celebration or something, please let me know. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, aside from that, thank you guys so much. I really can't express my thanks enough. I've been rambling for long enough, but just once again, thank you so much. It's just mind-blowing to me, and you guys are awesome and the best people. I've met some of you in real life, and I've talked to some of you online, and I see your comments and everything, and you're all just like the nicest people ever and so kind, and I thank you. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you again, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! Thank you! A huge thank you to my Garfield overlords over on Patreon. Zoe Mars, Xavier Arajo, Woljix, Willow Moth, Vivian Valencia, Usurpius, Trouser Mouse, Tony Terras, Stanley, Sophie Jane Dewberry, Skisa, Simon, Sheriff Whiskey, Say Marie Brayley, Prize from Traveling Tavern, Ocean Gremlin, Michelle Olsen, Matt LRJ, Eminem, Leopold the Rabbit, Kia J. Parker, Katrina Likes 5e Stuff, Jet Secret, Jesse Chisholm, Java Bar, Hazy, Helm Hamburger Hand, Dozo Blint, Dr. Worm, Doug, Dana Homegardener, Bunzo, Blue Mayfield, Astrium Vortex, and a riddle wrapped in an enigma hidden by a question mark. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. It means the world. If you want to join these guys over on Patreon, the link will be in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye!